years for it to get off your neck.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have one from the veterinarian.
Good evening. Welcome to the Fraser Park Public Utility District regular planning meeting for Thursday, December 19th. If you all rise and join us with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Time?
6 o'clock.
Okay, ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There's an echo.
Okay, roll call. Director Schoenberg,
Present.
Director Nyman,
Here.
Director Gibson,
Here.
Director Kelly.
Here.
Any need for adjustment of the agenda tonight?
I don't think so.
Any of the directors have anything? Welcome to the public. Any public comments tonight?
No, just Mary Dreyer is one of our directors from Lake of the Woods. She took over Bob Stoll's position.
Welcome, Mary.
So just so you know, she might be a friend of yours.
Thank you.
She is a
Sorry, you might be.
Strike that last comment for the record.
Thanks a lot.
Sorry.
Okay, manager's report.
Alright, the generator quote, it changed. I know Tiffany updated you a little bit, but basically to put the automatic switch, it was gonna go in that office. The guy, when he bid it, he couldn't get in here.
We've gone through the whole explanation. Now we've got extra charges to put it on the outside.
Yeah, because now, and plus he's gonna have to cut the drywall out. He'll put it back in there, but he's not gonna tape it and mud it and paint it and all that stuff.
Well, that's what we were wondering.
Because he's an electrician, he's not a painter, he's not a drywaller. You know, any tradesman usually does their own trade. He's not gonna go that route. Maybe if we paid him even more, but we're talking about getting the office painted eventually anyway.
Okay.
Let them do it.
Okay.
It's gonna cost more for wire as well for the trenching, but instead of letting him do it, I just told him, you just spec out what I need. I'll go to Ace, I'll get the wire and the conduit. We'll trench across the road. The crew will lay it in, run the wires, you know, and just leave them stubbed up at each end. And then he could do that.
Just make the
hookup.
connections.
So I still think we're getting a good deal on the generator. We're still doing it. It's just a little change in what it was.
We asked if we needed a permit to dig across the road.
He's gonna get the permit. He's gonna get all that stuff. Well, not to dig across the road. We don't need the permit to dig across the road because it's not part of the county road. We dig across the roads all the time. It's what? You were gonna say something.
No, I was waiting for you to finish.
Anyway, so that's not an issue. The permit, he's gonna permit the generator and everything. They're gonna have to come out and inspect the depth of the conduit and all that kind of stuff. But the good thing about it is we're gonna have to put a steel enclosure around it, keep people from stealing it. Now, if it's inside our yard with our alarms and all that stuff, we could avoid that aspect of it. It's just gonna be a little more secure, and we have to be 10 feet away from all the windows, so there's no place we could put it. I even tried to look back over here. There's no place to put it. So anyway, so that's where we would do it. So the other thing is he wants half down when we did it say when he ordered the generator or when he got it?
No, when it arrived on site.
When it arrived.
We read that last time.
Pay half and then half, and that's because he's
When it's
stiff
completely
work.
done.
Yeah,
Yes.
completely done. So
Director Schoenberg.
So we were just also worried about, it said not included engineering and drawings. Do we need engineering and drawings?
no, he I don't know why he put the not included engineering, because in the last quote I think he had told me that the only thing it requires is drawings, and he'll draw it up for the inspector. He said it's simple.
But he said not included engineering.
Will you just
and
clarify that
drawings.
for us?
Huh?
Can you
He's saying
clarify
not
that for
included.
us?
Yeah, well, I know. I'm telling you, what he told me personally, and what I think is said on the other one, is that the drawings would be included. But he said he'd do all the handling it with the local inspector, that he's just going to draw. He just has to draw out a little rough sketch and show it
Like
to
a
the
plot
guy.
plan, show where it
Plot
lies
plan.
in relation to the office.
And he said-
Can he spell that out? Because I just want to know exactly what. Because if he charges more for that, then we should.
Well, that's not really engineering. He's dealing with
No, it says drawings.
Okay, yeah, I'll make him. So if you want to approve it with drawings,
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we,
yeah.
didn't we already?
You did,
I
but
think we approved it, pending
week.
those,
No.
Just pending the,
The original quote was
You-
approved, not, but last
oh, because
meeting
we're,
you
yeah,
didn't approve
okay.
And then,
the new quote.
Director Killing,
the switch is going on the outside. Is he gonna encage that switch somehow?
It's just, it's not the type of thing, it's no different than having your meter box on the outside of your house. You know,
there's a
your
place
break-
for a lock.
Your breakers and everything, it's basically the same exact thing as somebody switching your breakers.
Yeah, but even those boxes have a little
Yeah,
latch at
yeah,
the
they
bottom
can-
where a little
yeah.
hasp can go.
Yeah, they're gonna be
It
locked.
can be locked, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, 'cause-
not really an enclosure per se, but yeah.
No,
well,
it's a secure, weatherproof box.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I just,
Like I said, it's no different than somebody going to your house and flipping your breakers in your house. It's,
well, but
It's
at
this-
least my yard is enclosed. This isn't enclosed.
Our yard is enclosed.
our breaker,
no, the
No,
box is
the
gonna be
box-
on the outside.
the box that would
Outside
be-
of the yard, facing the out, facing
No,
the
No,
street.
it'd be
outside
us-
of this,
it's
bu-
not
on
gonna
this
be on that
wall.
side, it's gonna be on that wall, right next to where there's already the breaker panel. It's there for people
Right
to
next
flip
to
switches, yeah. So, anyway, that part's fine, there's nothing they can do to it anyway.
Okay, well then I'll entertain a motion to decide what we wanna do on that. First, Director
I'll move
Schoenberg.
that we approve that, but with the one caveat that we just find out about the drawings,
Yeah,
and if
I'll just
there's
have to
extra
revise
for
that.
that.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Oh, and I shouldn't say I move that we approve that, I move that we approve the purchase of the generator, based on the estimate.
The
The
RSL.
one-
I second that. All,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did I say something wrong?
Motion carried, 5-0-0.
And then before I move on from me, the only other thing is that I sent you guys this email, but I know some of you don't read emails about Arthur Wilson. Just, it's nice when you get something like this.
Yeah, the
Email
report
came
the
from
community.
Scott
Go ahead.
Klessert, says, I just wanted to commend, praise the person Arthur who was sent out to our property during the recent snowstorm that passed through Fraser Park. I found out that our water line had burst and called for emergency service, and Arthur was sent as emergency response. I feel he went over and above in making sure the problem was resolved. The overall response from Fraser Park Water was excellent in my view, and much appreciated.
Major
So-
kudos to Arthur.
yeah.
Yay.
I'll pass that on to him, he'll be good.
Did,
I didn't get
Director
that.
Schoenberg, you
No, yeah.
and Director Nate Nyman have
I got
something
it.
that we wanted to,
What's that?
do you have something you needed to address us? Okay. Administrative assistance report. Tiffany?
So the only report I have, there's this January 1st deadline on the public utility district, all special districts to have websites. But along with that comes, I'm trying not to go into too much detail. It's just now all the eyes are gonna go through special district websites and look for issues. It happened before when they did it in Florida. They come on and they look for anything to try to go after districts now that they're all mandated to have websites. So basically, I'm gonna go on our website, temporarily pull off some of the historical minutes and files and anything that's not specifically what's called OCR text searchable, because readers, assistance readers can't read any documents that aren't in that format. So I'm gonna pull off anything, that way there's no issues with our website that they can find, and then as I re-scan the documents in the correct format, they'll go back on. So it's just a lot of website work to do.
Okay. That all you have for us?
Mhm.
Thank you. Accounts payable, is Linda here today?
No,
or
she's not gonna be here.
Anybody have any
I
information
haven't
on that?
gotten to see it yet.
I passed it back, sorry.
Can,
Have we had time to review them, or you wanna,
Yeah, they're not that many. You can take a minute.
okay?
You need to sign in too, Lisa, okay?
I had a pen that I left when I left everything here. Did anyone know where it went? I like the other one.
Might have been the one that brought my desk that I tossed over.
The nice blue one, yeah. Oh, probably.
That's all. Toss me out one. There you go. Oops.
Thank you. Doesn't hurt my hand as
Here, you
much.
need a pin?
I brought my own.
While she's perusing those bills, this was the missing information on
That
the
would be
Russian
Director
test.
Nyman who was interested in reading
Oh,
that.
yes.
And we can pass it around.
I
if
mean, my
anyone
own,
else wants-
I didn't have a concern with it, Johnny, other
Other
than
you
when
wanted
we,
to see it, yeah.
well,
Should be with
well,
it,
no,
yeah.
but when we have, especially a huge purchase on the credit card, I need to have an invoice to be able to really approve it, because,
I always submit all that stuff. when-
Linda have that or what?
She had it, but she,
right, I don't
Didn't have
know
it
what
when
she
she-
did with it, but that's the only reason I brought it up, and you weren't here, so you
no, I
couldn't.
totally get it. Like I said, when you spend that kind of money, you gotta, well, everything is,
Paper backup.
yeah. Now we just gotta wait for that to get out here from
Did
Minnesota.
anybody wanna see this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Terry does.
I'll look at it.
Here.
And then you were explaining to us about the JPIA thing?
I think that it's, because of our claim history, because we've had that many claims in the last few years, it does add up. I mean, that's how it would add up in personal insurance. I'm not positive about commercial insurance, but I'll call them.
Okay.
Yeah, because the
I'll
funny
call them
thing
and get an
is,
explanation.
the funny thing is when I was talking about submitting the claim, it seemed like it was no big deal. The submitting the claim for the $13,000, they said it wouldn't affect our rates at all. When Lee Patton was just here from JPIA and did his annual visit to me and inspected things and wrote his report, he commented on how few claims that we have. It was noted kind of like we have far less than most people do. And now all of a sudden we turn in one for $1,000 and it
If
jumped
I
up,
could just
so.
get a copy of that invoice, Tiffany, so that I could,
Oh. Yeah. it might
the
be
invoice for
easier.
JPI, because it has
Yeah,
a
it's
phone
on
number to call specifically
Yeah.
and.
Yeah, because Linda says she called on it. I mean, I don't know if you guys read the notes, but basically it says 38% increase over last year. I left a message for them to call to let us know why it had increased so much. Their answer, increased due to a claim we had, plus recap, I think she says, of discounts received in prior years. Good news, the claim won't affect next year's premium, thus next year should be a lot less.
Sounds to me like we had some discounts that expired, and that's probably the biggest. Because I find it hard to believe
That's why it
that.
was a percentage more.
Yeah, I feel like $1,000 claim
But
would not
that's
jump it
not
up
why they,
thousands of
but
dollars.
that's not the way they wrote it up. So if you wanna look at the way they wrote it up, I would, just since I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, I was just hoping I could get a copy of it.
Wait a minute, copy of it?
And then, I just had a question about
Reference.
grading the road also.
The what?
The road grading for 1,000 something.
Yeah, that was the one going up to Greg's old house I told you guys about that was pitched the wrong way and had about 30 feet of our main line exposed.
Right.
And there's no way we could do it because we don't have a bulldozer or the technology to slope it back the correct way. So that's what that one is.
Okay.
And who did that work?
Santana, it was
Santiago.
seven hours.
Santiago.
It was 7 hours worth of 165 an hour.
It was a lot of changes you had to make.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion to pay our bills then.
Yeah, I'll move that we pay the bills. Although we're gonna have Director Gibson ask
I mean, we'll find out why. We're gonna
potentially
have to
why
pay it.
JPIA,
period.
but we're definitely paying it. So I move that we pay our bills.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, 5-0-0. Unfinished business, number 6, discussion vote on Fraser Park Lake of the Woods Consolidation Planning Project. A, update on the conference call held December 19th, 2019. Was there earlier today?
Yes.
Okay. Who would like to speak on that?
Well, I mean, I think we could just read these minutes.
Director Nyman, would you do us the favor?
Yes, So, we had, Lake of the Woods Planning Conference call today. In attendance, was, myself, Lisa Schoenberg, Johnny Allison, Tiffany Matt, Dave Warner, Dee Jasper, Lawrence Sanchez, and Jesse Dollywall. Dave Warner opened the meeting by introducing Claim 2. It includes invoices for September through November. He noted corrections and the additional backup documentation that he would be providing. The cover letter included a quarterly project report required by the state. Dave confirmed that Claim 1 was approved and the district should be receiving a check in the next 7 to 10 business days. Dee Jasper gave his update on the status of test well sites. Soledad Enrichment Action provided a signed letter giving permission to walk on their property and conduct a survey. He will be coordinating with the contracted company to do survey work at all 3 locations at the same time. He anticipates it will be sometime during the 2nd or 3rd week of January. He's still waiting on official written permission from the 2 other property owners. The group expressed their thanks to Lawrence Sanchez for contacting SIA in person and educated them on the project. It was that work, as well as the letters from the attorney, that led to their cooperation, and the fact that he wore a suit. While moving forward with SIA, Lawrence and Dee learned that the property is being sold and may already be in escrow. They hope that the permissions will continue through escrow and apply to the new landowners. So that's something we need to get more information on. So, Dave Warner looked into the technical assistance budget and self-help enterprises contract with D. Jasper and Associates. They agreed to shuffle funds within the amount allocated to title and reports and the money for engineering so they are able to cover the test well locations, gravity surveys. Lawrence Sanchez confirmed he is okay with that adjustment. The planning contract between Fraser Public Utility District and D. Jasper was reviewed by the state. Lawrence had corrections to the breakdown of the engineering costs that he wanted made before the contract was finalized. Dee will have that done by next week. He said Monday, basically. Jesse Dollywell then gave up an update on Lake of the Woods Mobile Village. He spoke with the owner about the nitrate violations and their compliance order. Jesse encouraged him to join the regional annexation project as a solution to the issue. The owner still insisted that individual water meters to be placed at each residence so he would not be responsible for water service. Jesse and Lawrence both agreed this was something the state would not be willing to pay for. With Fraser Park not willing to incur the cost as well, Jesse said he would like to see the owner invited to the next planning meeting so he could continue to be educated and understand what is and isn't possible within the project. Finally, although not directly related to the personal project at Dave Warner's request, Lawrence gave an update on the technical assistant application submitted by Fraser Park for the pipeline replacement project. He explained that although another department handles those requests, they did reach out to him for comment. Lawrence gave his recommendation that they move forward with that request. The state is looking over the application, but they don't anticipate having an answer before the first of the year. Yes.
Did you amend that to add that Oscar was in on the call too?
Oh.
Was he on the phone?
Yeah.
I probably didn't hear him in the background.
Okay.
Well, Oscar, you were on the phone?
Yeah, we said hi.
Oh.
Yeah, at one point.
You don't feel left out, do you?
Oh, no.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
And there's that typo that you read.
Yeah, I'll just put that.
Any more input on that call that anyone has to offer?
God bless you.
Okay, so that puts us knowing where we stand
What's that?
with these activities.
Oh,
David, you want to speak?
When it's appropriate.
Okay, then let's go on to B, test well site
Can I just
location.
say one thing? for that?
Absolutely.
That we should put a little note to ask Mr. Connor to see if he'd be interested in attending the next planning next month.
Can I get water?
Invite him.
Okay, anything else?
Can we get third signature?
Absolutely. All right, B, test well site location and acquisition update.
The acquisition, Saya Ranch, said that they were approving, our access to,
Yeah, that was pretty much covered in the letter. we
to
just
their,
read.
to their property. Yeah, well, actually, it's all in those minutes. There's
It's all in that
the
letter?
two other people that gave us verbal okays, but we gotta actually
Okay,
get them
So
signed.
Dee's gonna go in person.
so we covered basically both with that letter.
Yeah, Dee said he's
Um,
gonna go in person to the other two people and deliver a letter to them, so he gets approval right away.
Okay, thank you, Director Nyman. Discussion, vote on contract with D. Jasper, letter C.
We don't have the contract, this is the one we were talking about.
That's the one he needs to
So-
correct by next
so-
week.
Yeah, I
It's
did-
here,
Oh,
It's right
it's in your
here.
books if you wanna look over it, because the correction was just.
It's right behind that letter, right?
Engineering chart.
Yeah.
The latest
Is
contract.
this the one
But
that he had
did
to
he add
correct?
that, did he add that line that they asked for?
The new engineering, no, this was from before,
Oh,
I mean, he couldn't have changed it technically.
Okay, well, that's,
That's all we're waiting on is to change it.
right, but we had already reviewed this.
Yeah.
several
So-
times.
Because you had the attachment, C,
It hasn't been officially approved by the board, I don't know if you wanna wait for the engineering changes or.
right, well, yeah, well, because the only thing, I mean, I know he was adding a line explaining that attachment B was the total cost of the project, and C would be the breakdown of his services.
Director Schoenberg.
I'd like to move that we wait for final approval of this until we have the full contract from him.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed,
He
5-0.
he should be sending.
Excuse me?
Oh,
Director Nyman.
he should be sending a new contract on Monday, that's what he told us.
Should and would and could. Will.
Well, I'm
So-
just saying,
Director Schoenberg.
So can we put it on the agenda for the next regular meeting?
You want it on the regular?
Yeah, because I think
That way
we're
we
gonna
can get
approve
it
it ahead
approved.
of time.
I think Dave wants it approved.
Will he need to be here?
But
He doesn't need to be.
the
here.
engineers agreement, you've got time, it's just, he hasn't started.
But don't we
charging.
want it approved before the next phone call with the state? So I think that might be good because that's gonna come in between.
I think you're close enough to have it approved,
Yeah.
the state made their comments, you folks have reviewed it, I've made some comments. I haven't seen the last,
Right, so I'm saying if we put it on the regular agenda and approve it,
Which is the second
Which
week
which
of
is
January.
the second week of January, and then we have our phone call on the
Third week.
following week, then we should be,
I think that'd be.
It all seems to hang together,
Yeah.
yes.
okay.
Letter D, discussion and vote on claim 2. Is that you, Dave?
Yes, sir.
You have the floor, friend.
And just so you know,
Director Schoenberg.
recommendation from the ad hoc, we looked over this claim, there were a couple of slight adjustments, to the claim, one being the date of one of the meetings that was written incorrectly, and the other being, what was the other change that we made, Dave?
The total amount.
Oh, the top,
Oh, well,
no, that was
President.
correct.
President's name?
Oh, the president, yeah, because the president was still Terry, so it needs to be signed by you now.
Dave, I had a question.
Yeah.
Director Nyman.
On the second, before you get into this, maybe I'm confused, or was confused on the phone call, but where it says amount incurred to date, shouldn't that have the amount that you're asking for
What
today
page?
added in on page 3, State of California's Water Resource Control Board invoice request for reimbursement?
Yeah, we're supposed to have both. The amount to date.
So where it says 9,000, that was our first claim 1?
No, it was 7,000, it was, my understanding is
Oh,
that
oh.
it's claim 1
And
And
claim
claim
2.
two.
Oh, okay,
Claim two,
so
yeah.
that amount is
Yes, it
both
was,
of them.
it was like 70.
Oh, okay, all right, then that's fine. I thought it was incorrect when we were
Yeah.
talking earlier, but, okay, cool.
So
Director Schoenberg.
Dave Warner made the corrections, and so we're, I believe, recommending, and after you look at it, that it's good to go.
this is the benefit of the pre-meeting to the
Right.
meeting.
Right.
I appreciate you guys being there and being together with that. That gives us a good heads up and a feeling as to what we're looking at and how you feel about it already.
And we go through all the documentation and make sure that everything's there and correct. Yes, Dave?
We did some changes on the report. You folks had said, the president, office of the president had changed.
Oh, you did change that?
So I did
didn't look at
add under to whom it may concern, we changed that around just to recognize that, President Kelly was, being replaced with President, Garcia,
that. Perfect.
and attached the resolution to it, so, but if
Okay.
there's any other, like a report in there, like under the project report, if there's any, if you folks see stuff that you want changed, let me know.
Yeah, so what's happening each time is on this first page where Dave's doing a project report. And so if you see something that got missed from what we did so far from September through November, he should add that in.
And I
Because
see-
our requirement is every quarter, we have to give them a project report. So the easiest way to do it is when we submit the claim quarterly, that we
Give the report at that time.
provide that information at that time.
Thank you, Director Nyman.
And I see a potential change on this letter that, it's, on October 3rd, met with Lake of the Woods System, State Water Resource Control Board, AA Joe Karkowski. That's short because I didn't know his title and I haven't found it. So I would recommend that we just take that AA and forward that to you folks with an updated, his name, his title is, it's not administrative analyst, it's not Alcoholics Anonymous, it's, so,
Assistant Deputy Director.
okay, so it's Assistant Deputy Director, thank you, appreciate it. We could make that change, I could forward it to Tiffany.
Yeah.
That-
You could approve it with a slight change.
Yes.
Thank you, Jen.
Director Nyman?
Also, what wasn't included in this claim, is that we've had 3 meetings. Typically, the conference calls are an hour apiece, and there was an issue with providing documentation because we'd been here and we had an hour here and we had 2 hours for other ad hoc and then we got paid. But in order for us to get reimbursed, we have to have some documentation. So what we decided to do is to do a sign-in sheet at each meeting,
At each ad hoc.
at each ad hoc meeting for the state. And so we still will get paid, but basically she'll be putting in a separate in her notation.
Footnote or some-
A
sure,
footnote
sure.
in QuickBooks saying $33
$33
and a third.
Yeah. I get it.
So that they have documentation so
Yeah,
that we
it's
can
just the
get
bookkeeping
reimbursed.
on a little more microscopic level.
Yes.
It makes perfect sense, and I'm sure they love it and want it.
So we didn't put it in this claim, so we still have to, for the next quarter, we'll have to add that in.
Excellent.
But right now we're doing it quarterly, so it should still be a little bit easier, but when we go to monthly so that everybody's paid, it's only gonna be each month one third of
So
the
you'll get
normal
paid every
ad
3
hoc.
months
We
or
get,
something,
yeah,
or
but
once
it's
a
probably,
quarter or
or
something.
get paid each time, but it's only gonna be like 33, 30,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
it's not gonna be
$33.30.
I get it,
$100.
I get it, what you earn.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll just be reimbursed quarterly, is all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
We'll just be
We'll
reimbursed.
keep track of it, that seems like the perfect way to do it.
Yeah,
I like the introduction of the sign-in sheet.
so.
So I'll entertain a motion here then. Director Schoenberg.
I would like to move that we approve claim number 2 of the Fraser Park Lake of the Woods Regional Consolidation Planning Project funding agreement SWRCB 000, oof, that's so many zeros. 0000000/8020/500.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Oh, I'm sorry, let me add, so to pay that claim and to approve the project report.
With the, change that Dave
With
and
the-
I made.
The one change that Dave's going to make in with the name of Joe Karkowski.
Are you okay with a second?
Yeah, I'm okay with that second.
Okay, then, all those in favor, say aye.
I
Motion passed 500. Okay, it brings up number 7, discussion vote on well 5 emergency replacement project. Who would like to address us on that? Is that you, Johnny?
Well, I don't think I really have an update except for on,
Should we table this next regular meeting?
well, no, I mean, we
did
just let me see what the line items are.
we go over this contract? I can't remember.
That's,
Yeah, well, I'll give you the
Seventy.
update. The one update I have is that Al Coryell emailed me and then I spoke to him on the phone. He's from the USDA, one of the money guys. He said, I see in the PER that you guys have, you know, you're putting away $350,000 in an emergency reserve fund. Basically, the bottom line is, most people want you to spend your money before they want to give it to you. He said, I don't want that to happen to you. That's what the state absolutely does. The state says if you have a bunch of money, you gotta spend that first and we'll help you. USDA says we need to have you go over your capital improvement plans and spec out in the PER that you already have a use for that money and more, so you don't have to spend your money, so we can try to fund it without you spending that $350,000. So Curtis and Dave and me, we worked and we tossed it back and forth and we've added some stuff. You know, outline the capital improvement projects more, so it should be okay as far as that goes. So at least they're trying to work with us instead of just telling us later on, oh, well, spend this first. And so far, the project seems to be going well.
Yeah,
Do you agree?
I mean, your rate study report had
Yeah.
pretty well outlined, here's where you can put that money, and so that's what they're looking for, like you said, is
Yeah.
that they wanna make sure that it's targeted for something, it's not just sitting there available for someone to say, spend it on your well.
Yeah.
So if it's targeted for, there's a whole list of.
Yeah, I didn't compare
Equipment.
your list, Johnny, with that.
My list was just, he had me, the things that we're planning on actually doing in the next 5 years was what he asked me. So I spelled out the most important projects, in my opinion, for the system for the next 5 years.
Which still corresponds with.
Which
what's on
totally
the-
corresponds
what's
with that.
the 218.
It's just, it was a shorter version of this is what we need. Piping, new tank, you know, pressure reducing stations, replace, stuff like that, so.
The generators in each site.
I mentioned the generators, so I'm sure we're covered, cause Curtis put on their pricing and everything costs way more than what we have in reserve, yeah.
Okay, so specifically in A, the discussion vote on USDA grant loan application. Are we ready to,
Well, I just have a question for Dave.
Director
So David,
Schoenberg?
do you think that that's a problem, that it doesn't necessarily exactly I mean, there's more stuff on the 218
I don't think that's a problem.
on what we,
They may raise the question of, are you putting all that stuff in as reserve? You have a schedule, you're collecting the money. I would give them the information, we're showing that there's money being put aside, and it should cover the,
it doesn't come near covering the replacement of the old steel pipeline alone. So even though we're setting aside theoretically $1 million, I mean, it's
Mr. Coryell already implied that what we're providing is
fine.
sufficient.
Okay.
So.
if you didn't have any numbers showing where it's going, then they'd say, oh, that's available for.
Right.
Do you have any other updates on the other line items?
We have A, B, C, and D.
Well, on A, I have another question, because we.
Director Schoenberg?
So, on the PE, oh, actually it's B, I'm sorry. We're on A still.
We're on it.
Okay, any more discussion on the grant loan application?
Just, Oscar is, has been signed in, to fill out the FAST application.
I have gained the access for the application, so I'll be the one that will be submitting the application on the,
Awesome. So you're on our case, on the case.
yes,
For the well
Thank you.
5 emergency?
for the USDA.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Oscar.
But we're
Thank
waiting
you.
on Al Coryell to approve our PER that we've sent him. And once we get that approval, then we'll submit the application. Is that the way it is?
My understanding is you're likely to have a phone call or meeting with him, because they'll go over those numbers and say, okay, this is where we figure you guys are, you could qualify, you might be able to qualify for, you know, so much loan, so much grant.
And Al was gonna have, what's the other guy's name?
Robert Nielsen?
Robert Nielsen review it as well, and Al already spoke to his supervisor about the money aspect and having the emergency reserve thing, so it's kind of like they're trying to all look at it and make the changes that are necessary before it's actually submitted officially, I guess.
That's a grant loan application?
Yeah.
Oscar?
And I know I have the clearance, but somebody from the board or Johnny will also need clearance to sign once all of those documents are there in order and all the information is there.
The grant loan application will probably be signed by the board president. Historically, that's how it's been. And then other things like the front page of this thing I can sign.
He's already, named as our rep.
Yeah, but not as the
Bless you.
fast, I mean, one of us needs to go on that. Did we decide that? I remember.
Well,
talking
I
about
think
that.
Yeah, one of you guys
we-
was gonna go do it. I was gonna go do it, but you guys, somebody else, I forget who it was, said they would go down and do it.
I think it was Mr. Garcia.
Yeah, I thought you had said you were,
Be around to sign
Yeah.
things?
well, no, that you were willing to do, you have to be, you have to go on the website and be
You have to go to the
approved
local
on
office down
or
there.
the local office and be approved for the FAST, to be able to sign it, electronically.
You gotta show them your ID.
Down in Bakersfield?
Yeah.
Down in
Okay.
California.
I can do that, can I do that, after the first of the year?
You should be able to.
Yeah.
I'm booked up right now. Supposed to be retired, but it's not all,
I think the decision at the time was I would go down with whoever did it, and
Oh,
I would
come on.
also be certified, so if somebody says, yeah, if you guys say, yeah, we want this signed, and Jerry wasn't around, then I can
Then
sign
you
it.
would be able
Why don't
to-
we go, make an appointment to go down there and do that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll get with you right after the first of the year,
Perfect.
take care of that. Okay.
18.
Oscar, do you have something else?
Yes, just, I'm not sure, but I know that, well, since it being a government office, and I know the real ID taking into effect after January 1st, so I don't know if you may need to have a real ID.
Now, was that, the real ID was the one that the DMV gave you and you
Yes.
turned, okay, I've got one.
Okay.
Did you have to take down a birth certificate and stuff?
And I got a passport, and
Oh,
that's,
okay,
I think
then
either one
that's
or
good,
both.
Well, I don't
So
know.
I'll take them both.
Take them both, yeah.
Yeah, you have the little bear on the little bear symbol on your driver's license, cause that's what you
I think
need.
so, there's
Like a
some
bear
federal
with a
limit
star.
supply or something.
That tells you that you're federally,
So I guess I need to probably go down and get mine then.
yeah, cause I don't have it yet.
I don't have a bear, I got a 49er panning gold.
Yeah. It's,
It's supposed to be a little bear.
It'll say real ID on it.
no, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Mine
It just has
says,
the-
federal limit supply.
Yeah,
Mine,
oh,
mine
okay.
does, mine does too, and mine is not the new one. You could still get, I got the same one Jerry's got, this is not the official
Then
one.
you don't have the real.
This is
Real
not
ID.
the
It says ISS on it.
ISS.
No, you have to have
It
this.
has to be the bear with the
See the
star.
bear with the star?
Oh,
That's a real
Because
ID.
you could still get
Oh,
these
she-
and not get the.
Because I just got my driver's license and it doesn't have the bear with the star because I didn't have all the documents I needed.
oh, wow.
What
Yeah, I don't
documents
either.
do you
You
need?
need,
Social Security.
birth
Birth certificate.
certificate or passport,
Valid
social
passport.
security or passport, birth certificate, something proving where you live,
2 items.
2 items.
Two items proving where you
What,
live.
like a bill or something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you need
Utility
like a gas
bills.
company that shows your
Utility
name
bills.
and address,
Okay.
and maybe an electric bill with your name and address.
And
That's another thing.
And then
If you
you've
go
been
on the
and if
DMV
you've been
website, it tells
divorced,
you exactly what you need.
Okay.
if you've been divorced, you need your divorce papers.
Women do.
Yes, women
For the
do.
name, yeah, okay. Go to B.
That, I
Discussion
couldn't get
vote
mine
on the-
because of that.
So
Crazy.
can one more question on A?
Director Schoenberg.
So right now, we're holding off on the application because we need to still
Yes.
get word, so we're gonna keep that on there and we're
Right,
voting on
carry
that.
Well, we've approved the PER already. We're just
Absolutely.
waiting for Al to give his blessing, and if there's any changes.
Then we
So
need
it's
to look
already
at it,
approved,
yeah.
we'll just
Right.
make the changes and then send it in.
Okay,
We don't
He
want
wants
so,
to make
approve.
sure all the information is in there.
Right, so we don't have to approve it again, it's already approved.
And
Well,
once
but
you
there
have
was
that
an
information.
Thank you, Director
They
Knapp.
want real numbers from the engineer, they'll review and they'll approve it, then you can go forward with a document application form that is filled out, and then, the other associated paperwork that goes with it.
Good.
Based on those numbers.
thank you, Dave. So we already, said that the PER is, basically approved, we're just,
Well, we looked at it again today because there's been
oh, I'm
changes
sorry.
made to
Director
it.
Schoenberg.
So the
Finish up
ad
this
hoc looked at it again, things were changed and, everything seems to be okay.
Which was the, what we talked about, the addition of the capital improvement
Right.
page, and also adding the 218, capital
And-
improvement page.
And actually, the alternatives were changed, there's actually like 5 alternatives now, there weren't 5 before.
Okay.
So, right? I don't remember there being 5, but I noticed it on this one, I remember there only being the first, 3.
And I don't remember right at this point, I haven't seen the new.
Yeah, so now it has 2 alternate, I think that was one of the mentions that they brought up, was that they wanted the alternative,
You're the only one
3
with
and
a
4
PER,
to
sorry.
be completely spelled out, so that they wanted them as 2 separate. Before it was just like 1, and they wanted it spelled out as 2 separate alternatives, so there's alternative 1, no project, alternative 2, connect to another water system, alternative 3, casing repair, alternative 4, casing liner, so they wanted those
Right.
2
So
separated.
casing repair was
And
already done.
Casing repair was together with casing liner, it said either or, but they wanted it broken out as a whole separate alternative. And then alternative number 5 is well replacement, so there's 5 now.
And as long as, and can I speak? And then-
Dave, have the floor, Dave.
As long as you folks put like $90-something thousand into that
Becky.
well, we need to make sure that that's recognized as a project cost.
It's
And in 5.
it's there in 5, it's
Okay.
not in the other ones, but the other ones say they're not viable because they're only temporary solutions.
Fixes.
Okay, so then that would protect, I would argue that that money shows that you contributed funds, and so you could have the option of at least lowering your loan amount or getting repaid with funds.
Right, it has it spelled out in the table 6 well replacement cost estimate. It has the repairs as a separate price in the cost estimate of $97,000,
Okay, good,
and it says that we paid it earlier.
great.
You know that you're the only one with the PER.
Director Kelly?
I don't even have the PER.
Oh.
I was never given
I
the
printed the 2 copies
Do
today.
you want a copy?
Well, it's just
Let her
that,
have it.
Here, I'll give her.
Yeah.
Just-
well, it's just, you might want to
Tiffany.
look at it as well.
I have a question for Dave.
Okay.
That's okay. We received the invoice today
Do you
from
want a copy of that,
DJSFire
Phil?
on the well 5 PER. Who should be paying that?
That should be paid with the IRWEP funds.
So did you see it?
He has, if you could send a copy to me,
Okay.
sure.
I have a copy of the PER, right?
that should go through their, he has a contract
Okay.
with their.
Oh, we should go to.
You know where that one's at,
That's
probably
nice.
PER.
It's
Yeah,
up in
like
my,
the
yeah,
contract,
it's
just so
up in
that
my
we're all,
Good job.
yeah, it sends me an Oscar.
So definitely us not right.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. B, discussion vote on the project PER.
So that was
We've basically
definitely-
approved it and we're just waiting for it, right? Thank you. C, earwimp contract and funding staff. Excuse me, Director Nyman, you have the floor.
I don't wanna get confused on this, Dave, but what about, because we're getting funds, we've already paid some invoices, for the work he's done on parts of the PER, how do we get reimbursed for that? Are we supposed to give you those two so that they can, see, cause that, there's a disconnect here, because before the contract was approved with Tulare County and those funds, we already spent some of those funds and we already paid D out of our funds. So how do we go about recouping that money?
My frustration is, he has a contract with Tulare County, you paid him for some of that work up front already. That contract's been signed with Irwin and him. And they need, either they need to reimburse you, or he needs to reimburse you those funds. Because you're showing those Irwin funds as another source of funding to go to the project. So, we need to contact
D.
D, and we need to have some type of discussion with the Irwin folks at Tulare County, which is Tulare County.
Right, which we weren't part of at all.
Yeah, they didn't have you included. That was the frustration. You're sort of out of that orbit. It's still your project, and you're claiming those funds as a contribution towards your project.
Because you should have a separate folder that Linda's keeping that has ones we've already paid.
Linda has the folder, I don't have the
Right.
invoices. She was keeping that.
So we need to have somebody follow up with D, Johnny.
Trying to make the coffee better. Yeah, we'll follow up with D and ask him, I mean, we need to get Linda to give us whatever those costs are, because
Right,
I have to
right.
actually know what they are.
Right,
I didn't
so you
keep
need to
track, so I
talk to
don't know
Linda
what-
and get, she has a folder of the ones we've already paid. And those, so we need to talk to D about how we're going to get reimbursed by that. He either needs to contact, Irwin and
Yeah.
say, hey,
I got that part, does she have it separated, what we paid for, that was related
they
to
were
this
all
project
separ-
only, is what I'm
Yes.
getting at.
they were all on only one invoice and we paid them separately, and she was to keep a folder of all those invoices we paid.
Okay.
So I wanna make sure we get reimbursed.
Okay, is
Sorry
that,
about that.
are you done?
Yes, I'm done.
So that takes care of C. D, discussion vote on the contract, with D Jasper. We'll talk about
Yeah, that was
it. I
the,
lost my place.
that was the contract, for the Lake of, no, that one.
It's
we-
this one on
Yeah,
seven, under
seven.
seven.
Didn't we approve?
Emergency,
That one's already been,
This is the first time we've seen it.
We've never seen it.
yeah.
It's the USDA contract. There's a contract, Dave Warner, there's a contract with the USDA requires you to have with your engineer for use of their funds or on their project. And so he needs to have their contract format, which you folks have seen before, it's a pretty lengthy, he needs to have that filled out for the project.
Right, this is what we were waiting for, but it's still not in their format, is it?
No.
We have the County of Tulare part, but we don't have the USDA.
It's the first
In USDA, it's something that the engineer has to go and pay for, the contract form itself.
I don't think it is this, it's like a whole lengthy boilerplate USDA contract that we don't have.
It's
Yeah,
like,
that's all he said.
That we keep bugging D about and he hasn't done yet.
Okay, so we gotta, keep that on the agenda for next, and follow up with D.
yeah, so that's another thing that we need to follow up with D on. with this contract between us for the,
And I don't mind, but like I said, I keep on, when I include you guys in these, you need to, as a board member, stress the importance of them doing it, because I've asked him for this exact thing
We
multiple
have-
times.
We-
I personally have too, so if it needs to get done faster, when I send out that group email pertaining to that, other people can chime in too, and it helps put a little more importance behind it.
I get it.
Because we talked to them about it last.
but
time.
what, I don't think that we said the USDA form.
Yeah, we did. Because Dave brought that up last time, because that was the whole point, is that this is meaningless because it's not on their form. It has to be on a form that the USDA will approve.
And that goes through the USDA engineer, he reviews it, he approves it, and then you folks sign it with the engineer and,
And it's including.
Which he's done
Tulare.
before, because we've had to do, Tulare's separate. Tulare we have, the one between him and Tulare, but that's a whole separate thing, that's for the IRWIM. For the USDA,
Right.
Tulare doesn't matter, what matters is that he have it on the USDA form, and he's done it before for our other USDA project, he just needs to do it again.
Right. So we're gonna, table that to the next, agenda, please.
Yeah, can we actually bring that up on the next
Regular?
regular meeting, just to
Mhm.
push it along?
Yeah, that's what I
Cause
thought.
I,
Okay, number 8, discussion on the meter replacement project. A, discussion and vote on project application. Oscar, please.
I have packages with the corrections. One of these from each folder.
Okay.
There's 4 packages total. I apologize, I didn't have enough copies.
I think there's one page from each folder. you
Director
pull out.
Schoenberg,
so
Oh, is that
again,
One from each.
the
Oh,
ad,
sorry, what?
take one out of each
the
folder.
ad hoc went over this on the phone with Oscar and Dave today earlier, right? This is the one we went over.
Yes.
And so we, looked at everything and there were, I think
Pass the
most of the
folder.
changes were made, but there were a couple more amendments because you couldn't read, some stuff didn't show up.
With the exception of, on the financial security package, page 7, item 20. The
You changed the
encroachment,
wording,
yeah,
yeah.
I changed the wording, although I wasn't able, because the software's special, so I wasn't able to include the periods for the abbreviations.
Okay,
But I think we'll be okay, because in other items in the
It
different
says row.
packages, I mean, we don't have abbreviation, periods for the abbreviations.
I don't know if you guys remember, but, Director Kelly had brought
One
up.
of each. Pass the rest down.
Director Kelly had brought up ROW as what is that, and we said right of way.
That's
And we
correct.
asked if that could be done with the periods, and the software does not allow that. So it's gonna just say county road, ROW.
Well, they're all county
Road
Nice.
ROW, because it says county earlier, so we changed, if you guys wanna look at page 20, the wording got changed on that.
On where?
Financial
Page 20 of
security
which one?
package,
Of what?
The
Financial.
financial security package.
page 7, item 20.
Or, I'm sorry, page 7, I think.
Did you say 7?
Yeah, 7.
So I don't know if you guys remember, we went over all of this last
Mhm.
time.
Yes. Makes as much sense as it's going to, yeah. Construction road right away, I mean, but I'm in that business, so it makes sense to me, it might not to layman, as we call it.
So other than that, all the corrections that
We asked for.
Tiffany sent me
Okay,
have been
great.
included.
And we went back over those today, looking at Tiffany's corrections,
get
which
what we
she had
just discussed?
highlighted.
All the board members understand what we're talking about? that we had brought up the
Yeah.
question of why weren't those,
Yeah, I didn't know what row was.
yeah, that's right, okay, so we all know what, and he said he's all corrected all the ones but that one because of the software package would not allow for the periods. So,
And there were a few other little changes, like you being president, and a couple changes money-wise as far as the average billing, and that Tiffany had. All those got corrected. We checked those today.
great, then, I'll entertain a motion to vote on the app. Director Schoenberg.
So I'd like to move that we approve the meter replacement project application and ask Mr. Cisneros to go ahead and submit.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed, 500.
Okay. So I will just double check the other attachments, make sure that everything is up to date, and go ahead and submit the application.
Beautiful.
And I just need on the packets that you have, I would need a signature. A signature at the end of each package.
Okay. We've voted to do that, so.
Which has your name on it now.
I'll take care of that before you leave. Then number 9, discussion and vote on pipeline replacement project. A, discussion vote on the application for technical assistance funds with self-help enterprises for potholing and main line replacement. Dave.
The,
Read it and weep, brother, come on.
we were just at Pine Mountain Club, we wanna move up there, so, no. I'm kidding. The TA request has gone in. The state's taking a very long time to review it. I've talked with the person who reviews it and then approves the request. The process is they have to approve the request. Lawrence on the call today said that he gave the thumbs up.
The recommendation is.
I talked to David Chan, he said they were not likely to get their act together or review it or approve it until after the first of the year. Once that's approved, we get an AR number which we can charge to.
You're right.
Then we have to prepare a work plan, which is a document that takes us a week or so to prepare, shouldn't take us too long, but we need those cost estimates that Johnny's obtained, and I think there's another cost estimate coming in for the pipeline locating work. Is that correct, Johnny?
Well, no, I mean, I just generated the one because the guy, called me.
Right.
From, Clean Harbors, they came up and they have a back truck and they gave me a bid, but Dee says they've worked with people in the past from Taft that do really good work too, so I guess we need to ask Dee and Curtis to get that going to get a quote.
Yeah, and so I'd get those quotes now so that, our contract, we would have a contract with the service provider, and typically, the smaller guys, they don't wanna sign a 12-page legal agreement with self-help to do a small amount of work. What they can do is work as a subcontractor through the engineer. Ken Schmidt works as a subcontractor through the engineer. We pay the engineer, he pays those subcontractors for that work. And for your engineer on the project, I would recommend that if we have a contract with them, they can provide those services as a sub.
Gary.
Director Schoenberg, I'm sorry.
So we voted last time on our engineer for this project, which is going to be D. Jasper and Associates.
Okay.
So you already have a contract with them, so we figured
Yes,
that
we
was
do.
a little bit easier, rather than going with another engineering firm that you would have to, go through all that with. And also, we had gone over the, we had reviewed what Dave was turning in for the technical assistance funds, but he had already submitted it. So the couple of little changes that we had, which had to do with trying to match the monies to what's been asked for on all the other, as far as like how population and amount, of average money, I think it was.
Service connections.
Service
and
connections and population, so those don't match exactly, but he already submitted it, so we're fine. I mean, it was just, the reason it didn't match is that on Dave's, he had the service connections, he had the meters at the wells, and that's not, so the difference between 1300 and 1303, and then also.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, so we had,
population.
and then the population was
Right,
just
right,
an
right.
average and wasn't, so he just did the.
1481 or 1400 or whatever it was.
Right, so it's slightly different, but we didn't feel that that's an issue.
Okay. Johnny?
On this project, before Dee gets more quotes, I think he wanted to come up here and spend the day with me going around looking at the streets that we're gonna need it the most, mainline replacement, so then when he gets a quote, he can actually spec out how many we need, you know, potholes or what have you, so. I'm guessing it'll probably be the first week of January before he gets up here to
Okay.
do
I
something like
mean,
that.
we're on the
Cusp.
short stroke at this point.
I mean, our TA funds can pay for his services in time. The danger is that I just need approval ahead of time.
Yeah.
If he's gonna charge for that, I'd like to have our TA cover it. I just need approval from the state. And they may say, hold off, I don't know, they may not. I just want to give them a heads up.
And I think we were okay, we knew that we were gonna be holding off on that project a little bit, and actually it sort of works out because hopefully we'll get some of this other stuff out of the way, and then it frees up the engineer a little bit more to do some of this other work, so that's part of the reason we also approved the same engineering firm to do all the projects, so, you know, hopefully, I mean, there's not as much of a rush. I mean, we need it, but it's not quite as,
We have contracts with a number of other engineers too. We have contracts with Provost and Pritchard, Quad North, AM, A&M, and there's a bunch of other, AECom. So we have contracts with those firms to provide basically, you know, upfront type services, not huge amounts of dollars, but.
Part of the reason we wanted D. Jasper was because ultimately, in the long run, we're gonna try to get him to map the system as well.
right.
So with him being involved in the mainline replacement, the potholing and all that, it could all be put down on AutoCAD and put on a map, and so the long term it's gonna benefit us
Yeah,
to.
generate a modern document, for crying
And
out sakes.
we also went with, we looked at all the engineers that were familiar with our system. One firm we weren't very happy with, another firm that's very familiar didn't have a contract with you, and the rest of the firms weren't familiar with our town, so.
Understood.
Johnny, did you have anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay, are we ready to approve the application?
So it's already gone out to
We already
be,
did.
you know,
Already
so it's,
gone.
Oh, okay.
we looked at it, like I said, we had some changes. The changes did not get implemented because it had already gone out and they weren't big deals, and
The reason
So-
I signed that and we submitted it is because you guys approved applying for it, and in the past, when we applied for that, it wasn't something that had to be hammered out, the fine details. It
Okay.
was just, yeah, go ahead and sign it, let's get the funds coming in, so.
Alrighty, I'm gonna skip the brief recess since we're so close to the end here. New business, any future agenda items that we wanna make sure that are carried over and brought up?
Yeah, I have a question. Do you remember when, Joe Karkowski, Dave, came out and he was mentioning that we could potentially get a grant for, replacing, septic tanks that could potentially influence our wells?
I don't
To
recall.
battle, he was talking about the nitrate issue in Lake of the Woods, and then he asked if we had nitrate issues, and I said, well, we're about at 5 or 6 for well 5, and he said, well, I'd kinda like to see us try to see what we could do about mitigating that. And one of his suggestions was giving some grant funding to replace the septic tanks that are in the area around our water supply, to protect the water supply. Do you think that's something we should try to pursue or wait for a while, or?
There's Prop 68 funding, which currently is out, and they're not taking applications, but it, you have to be organized, you have to have a game plan, you have to send an application within a certain deadline.
We have enough on our plate right now, probably.
And there's other funds. Now, this is just to upgrade or just to make improvements on the septic tank. and keep
Mitigate
this- but not
potential problems.
We apply to
by-
replace old septic tanks, septic systems to keep it from intruding in our well.
And ultimately, you have to abide, those are individual things. I don't know enough about, I know stuff about septic systems. I'm used to a district coming in and replacing it with a sewer collection system, with a sewage treatment system.
Yeah.
As opposed, individually, I worked with people to get funds, USDA funds, to upgrade their septic system. Some of it was part grant, some of it was part loan. They had to qualify based on income and age. I'm not quite familiar what he was proposing. I don't know that it would solve the problem, because you might be forced to, if you make improvements to your waste disposal system, you're gonna have to abide by the new requirements. And that may or may not put you in a fix. I referred to the woman here who just went through a septic tank upgrade.
I got it in just before the new changes of
Oh, okay.
literally the day before.
Well, it wouldn't necessarily be the district that it's not us that need to replace the septic tank, he was referring to the houses around the well, the private well owners that we could potentially pay to replace.
Director Schoenberg, did you
So
wanna add
we're,
something?
yeah, we're out of order because this isn't an agenda item.
Well, I'm wondering
so
if we needed to put it on the agenda.
I
so-
think we should put it on the agenda item just so we can, as an agenda item for the
Planning.
next planning meeting, just so that we can discuss it more fully.
Maybe in the meantime, I'll reach out to Joe Carcat.
Point well taken. Thank you. So if there's no other future items, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Meeting adjourned at 7:06. Thank you all for your input.